I think what,
Sorry, I
oh,
forgot to record. That's you go ahead.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
What's challenging in my life is I'm finding that I started out as someone as an ex-publisher, an ex-GM, and then a person who got into the events business pretty heavily, so now an events expert. All my clients have been in the magazine media world, and some of the people that are their customers, like the exhibitors at their trade shows who are in not the media industry, love what I do for them. And they're coming to me and saying, can you also do this for
Right.
us, even though
Okay.
we're not a magazine?
Yeah.
And I'm having to sort of rethink how my website presents itself, how my LinkedIn profile presents itself, because I'm discovering that I may have been leaving business on the table
We're gonna
because
do
people
that.
thought I only worked with magazines.
Recall.
Hey, somebody's got to mute though. That's somebody in the background that's got to mute.
Oh,
Thank you. We'll see you soon. All right, bye.
I don't know who that is.
I'm sorry, that was me.
Okay.
Sorry. I
Oh,
thought
no
I hit mute. My daughter had, these daughters are bothering us, Johnny. Anyways,
no worries, no
mine's
worries,
a grown-up daughter that has a car problem, but we're good. Sorry about that.
Right
no
on.
worries, no worries, John. So
Love
yeah,
it,
that's kind of where my head's at right now. So to that end, I have actually engaged with a women's entrepreneurial business coach who is going to look at my site with me and my LinkedIn and kind of talk through the evolution of my business and how do I want to present myself, because I have the problem, which it really is a problem. I probably shouldn't do the fingers, but of being a unicorn. I can do a lot of different things in a lot of different industries, but I think if someone looks at the website and sees that, they're going to go, it's too much. Like, you need, being more dialed into media helped me get a lot of my business going. Now saying that I'm broader, it's kind of a double-edged sword. So I made the decision to go ahead and spend a little money and engage with her and kind of figure out what reach looks like going forward.
Congratulations. I mean, it sounds like a good problem to have.
It is. It's a little scary to get away from media, but it's surprising how many people in other industries have the exact same challenges in marketing and AI and data. So it'll be interesting to sort of broaden outside of media and event media that's focused on events as well. So yeah.
How many of us here on the call? Oh no, you go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, if what you're describing there is a branding exercise, very much so. And if you have need of it, one of my colleagues that's what she does.
Okay.
Worked for the big ad agencies doing giant branding campaigns for everything from God, what was it? Laguna, what is it? The Lagunitas beer, the
Oh
beer.
yeah, Lagunitas. Yeah.
Yeah, all those. Yeah, did all kinds of stuff like that here in Chicago. So
Okay.
if you have needed that, hit me up. Her name's Emily Stringer, and she's absolutely brilliant. And I don't just
Okay.
because I hired her.
Okay, great. No, I appreciate once I kind of get through this coaching, I don't know that she does that kind of work. It's more like getting my head around where I am, but I may need someone like that to take that next step. So that'd be great.
Yep. All right.
Show
So
of
that's
hands.
where I'm at besides buying art.
Yeah. No, you got a lot going on. Show of hands. Who here has a coach of some sort in some capacity that they're working with on this call? All right.
Okay.
I do.
I will be.
Don does.
Yeah.
Dave says maybe, kinda. All right. Okay. So I will just heartily tell you that the coach that I have changed my life. And it's true because there's business coaches. I just learned this recently. There's business coaches and there's leadership coaches, and they're not necessarily the same.
Yeah.
How would you classify yours?
She's business because she talks to she's very niched in. It's women entrepreneurs, solo entrepreneurs for the most part, that are making at least 6 figures.
Okay.
And if you don't meet those, she can't work with you.
Wow.
So yeah.
Man, she's got a good brand. Sounds like good funnel, good understanding of what she does.
Yeah, exactly. So we have our first call is next week. We'll see. It may turn out we're not a good fit, but so far, listening to her podcast and talking to people who've used her, she seems great. So
On the off chance that it doesn't work out, then let me know because I've got some folks.
Sure.
That would be good. I know my coach that I work with has really saved my business.
Okay.
Complete.
Yeah, I think I'm just at the next step and I'm kind of like, what does this look like? I don't want to leave money on the table, and if people thinking I only work with media, because now I don't, I have clients who are not media, so I kind of just need to figure that out. Yeah.
John, you got any advice for Christy in terms of your coach, your experience with coaching and how to get the most out of it?
Sorry, my mute's giving me a hard time. Yeah, I mean, I think, to me, it's all about the fit and being upfront at the beginning and saying like, hey, I don't know if this is going to be a good fit or not.
Okay.
And be really clear about that. I think that's helpful. Like to say, like, I really want to make sure that we have good chemistry, that you're really, doing what I need you to do to help me grow forward. And usually the best coaches understand that. So just being open to the idea that maybe it's not a good fit, that would be my best advice. Hopefully it is, but it's not.
Yeah, but don't, why waste
not you.
time? Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. And
Yeah.
you're paying for it, so make sure that they understand that you might, after a few sessions, say, you know what, this just isn't a really good fit.
Yeah. Cool. I appreciate that.
And how do you know it is? That's for you, John. How do you know it is? you and your mute button.
Okay, my mouse is killing me today. I think you're energized to speak with them again. Like
Oh,
something happens in the week that you're not meeting with them. You're thinking about, okay, what would I've had two really great coaches, Vaishali and Dan. Like, what would Vaishali tell me? Like, if you're thinking about like you can't wait to run this issue through with the coach again, that's a really good sign. So I think chemistry is huge with coaching, and I think chemistry is everything.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're gonna have a lot of the same advice.
yeah. No, I think you're right. So yeah, we'll see if I get off that call and I'm like, oh, I can't wait till 2 weeks from now when we do the next one, that'll be a good sign. Yeah.
I would also suggest from a coaching perspective, because I'm an investor in a leadership development coaching platform. And one of the things that I learned watching and being involved at a board level with these guys is the recipients of the coaching who get the most out of it out of the gate are those who are come with a very transparent and are completely open and vulnerable in their discussions with their coach.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. They're not there to judge you, they're to help you. And so you've got to be as open and transparent and vulnerable as possible. And that's actually get you comfortable being uncomfortable, having that discussion. And like John said, it immediately, if you can make that connection, you actually start to build trust from like day 2, right? Once you get through the exchange of pleasantries. So just another 2 cents worth.
That's great. That's a really good point.
Oh, I love it.
I don't need to impress her. I need her to understand exactly where I'm at and what I need help with.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
She's the one that needs to be able to tell you the things you don't want to hear,
Yes.
but that you'll feel safe hearing her tell you those things.
Okay. You
Like-
guys, this is great advice. This is really good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're going to grow, like you're going to grow into this new season. And I think just the humility of being like, oh, I need a coach, like whatever got you there is, I think, an indicator of what the success you're going to have in the future.
Yeah, it was me staring at the copy on my website and going, I don't know how to explain who I am and
Yeah.
what I can do for you. So I need help. Yeah.
Can't wait to hear more about it.
Cool.
All right. Thank you for sharing the excitement and the challenge, which sounds like it's all mixed together for you, Christy. Is you got both going on at the same time.
Yeah, the client transitions are always a little fraught with peril because then they start, well, can I call you next month? Well, no, technically we're done. But, so I try to, it's a little bit of a transition period. Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, Tim, you're next. Exciting, what's challenging?
What's exciting? Most of my excitement is personal. We're about to. We've got a huge freaking NFL game Sunday between the Vikings and the Lions. That's personal.
Yeah.
I've got 2 granddaughters being born in late June, early June, and late April. So very excited to add 2 more. So, from a business, the excitement as a business perspective, I think and starting to increasingly see the folks that we work with, people understanding how to optimize data across their enterprise. It takes a while, right? I think that's interesting and exciting. It's a slow roll, especially when you've got a publisher of a large organization who finally looks at you and the light bulb goes off and they're like, I get it. I'm weaponizing my data, quote unquote. And it's great to see that. Now it's going to take them 12 months to freaking do it, but getting to that point. What's challenging, I think, is, and I was thinking of the notes on this when Christy was talking, although I was paying attention, Christy. I think the word challenging is balance, right? And from a professional perspective, it's balance from the standpoint we are having a lot of success working with medium to large medium publishing organizations because they have the resources to utilize and really help grow their business, right? Using data and some of the capabilities. That's a challenge because as John Garrett knows, I am a small business guy. I'm a local business guy. And it's kind of, yeah, we can help, go fishing where the fish are. We can help the big publishers. We can help them become much more efficient and do a much better job of growing their business. But my passion is how can you then move that down, move the capabilities, the economics down market so smaller organizations can get the same benefit. And that's, it's just not a pricing issue. It's resources, it's tools, so on and so forth. So I wrestle with that balance of, fishing in the pond with the large organizations right now, but, trying to help those that I feel passionate about. So that's my answer.
Are you seeing any early glimmers of what the path might look like to go like you described?
There's some glimmers. We're increasingly seeing using an analogy, from the pure technology standpoint, your CDP and audience management platforms, which are good tools. They've been out there for a long time, but think of them as a refrigerator. I buy this nice Frigidor. I might get water out of the door, but I really open up the door. I don't really have anything in it. Now, increasingly, we've seen this. We're working from a partnership perspective, licensing all of our data to go into these large platforms, so they now have a turnkey solution. So, and some of these folks work with smaller publishers and smaller organizations than whom we work with directly. And so that's encouraging to see that because now you really start to integrate data, tools, workflow, so everybody can be much more efficient. But we still have a ways to go on that. I mean, we're currently working with 2 platform-ish folks like that. We'll probably have another couple, but we'll see. So there's a glimmer of hope, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how Dave described, and it sounds like that hasn't changed, Dave Zahner, since we talked probably a year ago, where you were saying you really want to work with the big guys who work with the little guys, right? Like you see yourself. What did you call that? Or there was some kind of a relationship out there.
Tim uses this phrase like a watering hole almost.
Yeah.
Where we help to fuel the single watering hole, and then smaller brands that might not have had either the resourcing or the tech chops can still access the fruit, if you will, without buying the entire semi of the fruit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
The one you're talking about is we're more like farm to the back of the restaurant. That might have been it.
You've done it. You broke it down the same concept a lot of different ways. So yeah. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that's the path, not only from like how many total brands can we help to support, but also selfishly, like the minimum number of relationships needed to still support a lot of brands. Because if we have one partner relationship, that could be 100 more small, medium-sized brands that might not have been a good fit direct.
Yeah. Well, it's your turn, so you can just keep going, man.
Personally, my grandmother turns 95 January 15th.
Wow.
Her name's Doris, which tells you she's 95. So that's exciting to see her still kind of kicking along. Um, Christmas and New Year's was good. I actually played golf at a top 100 golf course on New Year's Eve day. So that was pretty exciting personally.
Which club?
So I live in Lakeland, right between Tampa and Orlando, and Stream Song
Oh yeah,
is
I've heard. I've heard. Yeah, I've heard
yeah.
it's a
So
place. Yeah.
so there, for those that have never heard that before, Mosaic is like the biggest kind of phosphate company like in the world, arguably, and they have huge phosphate in Central Florida. And so I think probably the tax write-off for them, they sold some of their land and helped to develop this massive resort and 3 golf courses all in the top 100 in the country on old phosphate land to kind of repurpose it versus it just being, wasteland. And it's a pretty special place. It's only about 50 minutes away.
Man, that sounds amazing.
Ironically, the head women's golf coach at Florida Southern, which is like a D2 private school in Lakeland where I went to school and also coached college volleyball, that head women's golf coach also part-time caddies at this resort. And so I caught up with him ahead of time and I actually aligned him to be my caddy. And he's got like, 5 national championships and I've known him for 20 years. So it was also pretty special because of who my caddy was.
It's crazy. It all just fell into place. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, from a personal and combo professional thing, I don't even think Tim knows this, so he might be excited to hear this. I've got a good friend of 20 years who also still works in volleyball, and we found an opportunity to spin up 2 or 3 junior volleyball events up in Illinois, and so it's an interesting business venture for he and I, where I'll provide a little bit of the initial financial startup needed dollars and I'd say more the business tax finance business structure guidance. And then he will do more of the physical operation of the events. And so it's a neat kind of joint venture in an area that he and I are both passionate about because I used to coach volleyball for 10 years.
Yep.
So that's something totally not related to data, media, advertising, but a passion that will probably be, 75 to 90% passive income for me that I'm excited about.
Dude, that's crazy, man. Are you so I remember you saying if we trace the thread back, that's been that coaching side of you has always been there, right?
Well, yeah, so I started coaching high school volleyball when I was a freshman in college.
Yeah.
I coached high school for the 4 years I was in college, club volleyball for the 4 years I was in college, and then I coached college volleyball for 3 or 4 years while I was still coaching clubs. So from 18 to let's say 27, my full-time life was volleyball.
And what's the draw for you? Like why is that
To do it? Well, because both my parents are retired music teachers. And so I was born in a world of like watching education happen. And so my dad forbid me to go the teacher route because he basically had to have, 3 or 4 jobs at a time just to be middle class. And he begged me not to teach. But the volleyball thing was a way to combine a sport that I liked with the best parts of education, which was, training minds and bodies. And so I enjoyed the training aspect actually much more than I did the, match competition stuff. The joy was actually training.
Yeah. And how does that carry over into what you do with 5x5?
Well, it carries over into my professional world, irrelevant to 5x5 specifically, because I was a year ahead in school. And so for the first 3 or 4 years, I was coaching, I'd say 16 to 21-year-olds. I was fairly close to their age as a male coaching females. And so I had to learn very early how to really demand a lot out of someone that was not my gender in a way that they still were eager to come back the next day and bust their ass.
Yeah.
And that's a delicate line as a male with a
Yeah.
female and potentially close to the same age.
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot there that I think from a work professional standpoint, how to get a lot out of your peers, your bosses, or people that work for you. And especially so when you might not be the same gender.
Yeah, man. That's precious, man. I appreciate that. And then anything else you want to share before we move on?
the more like the learnings, I wouldn't say struggles, but the learnings piece is kind of like Tim mentioned, just I think we're learning a lot as to I almost feel like there's this line in the sand of like qualifying in and out fast. And in general, I don't mean specific to a deal, but just in our lives professionally, like working really hard early to figure out what's a good fit and what's not. And then for us more specifically, like Tim mentioned, we can support, 1,000 employee, $50 million publisher much better than we can directly a 9 employee, $3 million publisher, not because the use cases aren't the same, just more from an infrastructure and resourcing standpoint.
Yep.
And so we're kind of developing these two paths of our business, like enterprise direct versus that kind of watering hole, one to many thing. So it's good. It's been good learning, and you learn by getting out there and working, and sometimes working deals means either win, loss, or learn. And as long as you learn every time, I think it's worthwhile.
I'm going to tie that back. I mean, do the work up front ties right back to what we were talking to Christy about, right? Like qualify fast. Like, is this a fit? You don't want to be long or midterm with something that should have been tossed out, right? Like in the beginning. So I love it, man. It's some great wisdom. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
My buddy John, Mr. Garrett, what you got for us?
Oh man, it's been crazy times. Personally, really just enjoying the time. Our girls are all here from college, which is fun. My father-in-law actually was a pilot. He crashed his plane in early December, and he's okay. He had to have back surgery, and he's 79, so he's retired from flying now. But it's been kind of an interesting season, because parents get older, that the caretaking starts taking a different shape. So anyways, Jennifer and I are kind of navigating through that, but it's been good. We have professionally finally hired a new Dallas publisher, which has been a 6-month project of mine. It's been really, I've basically been the Dallas president and publisher for the last 6 months, been up in Dallas like 2 to 3 times a week. I live in Austin, and so that has been very grueling for me. I missed my bed a lot. But I have a new guy, and there's a lot of change up there, like lots of, changes of people. And so anyways, culture needs to change a little bit, in my opinion, and we've done it. So we're getting that's kind of, I'm excited about that. He starts on my new publisher up there starts Monday, and I'm excited about that. So yeah, and then we have a huge new partnership we're about to announce with Texas Monthly here in Texas, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Who said what? You did, John?
I did. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a content content distribution partnership, and Texas Monthly's a real favorite of Texans here, and we think Community Impact is too. But it's pretty cool, pretty exciting. We're basically going to have an 8-page mini Texas Monthly in all of our publications around the state, and we're doing some kind of revenue share on marketing and advertising that we're working with their team on. It's been pretty fun, actually. So yeah, we're launching that in February, and working hard on trying to we're trying to sell 4 statewide sponsors for that. So we're working hard on that. We're right in the middle of the yes or no, please say yes phase. So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, it's an exciting time for that. What my next project, I'm already trying to ping Tim, but my next project is in December of last year, I took over our manufacturing. We have a printing facility here in Austin. I took over that because we had a leadership change, and I basically fixed some issues that were over there, and I got a new leader over there. And then in June, of course, I went to Dallas. So the last I'm having these 6-month projects, but the next 6 month, my goal, Lord willing, I don't know what'll happen next, but Lord willing, my goal is to be working hard on the data digital product side. I really like where we are from a foundation standpoint, but I think we need to step up our game. We have some opportunities to do that. So, I think I'm probably the best one in our organization to kind of lead through that. But my hope is that I'll have somebody come alongside me, and kind of do what I did in printing and do what I did in Dallas, and hire somebody to run it. But I think right now there's a lot of vision, product stuff that I think I need to be involved with. So
Is that 2025 stuff, like later 2025, you think, or?
yeah, I mean, if things go well with John, his name up in Dallas, if things go well with him, I think I'll probably be digging into it sooner than later. You know, ideally, February. But there's a lot of stuff. We're looking at a new ESP. We're looking at a lot of data funnels. We're trying to do a lot of different things. Yeah. So data is a big, Johnny, data's a big part of what we're thinking about, and try to put pieces together.
You remember when we first met, we were like passing the data sketches back and forth.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Right. On a napkin.
Yeah, on a napkin. That was great. I was like, oh, I love this guy. It was
Yeah.
about 5 minminutes.
Well, you're the only one that could understand what I was saying. It made me feel in that whole room, probably. And that's probably true.
Yeah, folks are old school, man. They're old school. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So good. So good, John. Thank you, man. So Dave, Mr. LaFontaine, it's your turn. And you can give your personal report, and then you can even get into some of the stuff you were talking about in your email to me.
Okay. Number of different things going on here. One of them is that the work that I've been kind of doing ad hoc for small to mid-sized publishers, which is going on and taking a look at their Google Analytics and what's going on with social analytics, what's going on with their content, what's going on with their monetization strategies, what's going on with subscriptions, trying to tie all that together into a vision of here's what's going on with your organization, here's what's working, here's what's not, here's what looks like there could be some great opportunities for the future. It turns out, and everybody here is going to like slap their heads and look at me and go, duh. But it turns out that there is a greater need for that than I thought there really was. I knew that people weren't engaging with analytics with the
Hey,
number.
I hate Dave. I'm sorry. Christine's got to leave in 10 minutes. So can I give her the mic and then come back to you? I'm sorry to do that to you, but
Go.
she was excited to share, and I want her to share. So Christine, go ahead. You go ahead and take the mic. Thank you for letting me know that I was about to cut you off.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I have to jump off the call. So for a medical call. So anyway, personally, I got twin boys. My son is about to have twin boys. So that has made the family grow exponentially, and I'm thrilled. My son lives about 4 miles from me, so he and his wife are begging for more time. Okay, but I am in business with my son, so he is my right-hand guy, and handling it. My succession plan is to hand it all over to him, and
Yep.
I don't want to retire too soon, but I am planning to retire sometime in the next 5 to 8 years. So anyway, at the end, business wise, at the end of 2024, we finalized contracts on 2 new clients, and it was a kind of a big growth for us. And one of the clients is an organization, of social services organization. So it's going to be a very different kind of client for us, although we have some experience in that area. But I renewed a contract and signing on to another contract that is showing me a niche that is emerging in my client base. And it's one that I think could lead to an interesting partnership. And it's basically helping with onboarding and that for Omeda. So once their clients are onboarded, I'm sort of going back and talking to them as a publisher, as somebody who does this, and how I've utilized the Omeda system and help them get there with that. So
Yes.
I've done that with HubSpot in the past. really getting into the data and making sure they can utilize it. And here's your gaps and here's this. But and I've done that for a couple of publishers. So I think I'm going to kind of, think about how I can broaden that out a bit. But so there's some rebranding needed. And I wrote down, think about a coach. And so yeah, I think this year's going to be exciting. I mean, my business partner, I have three people that work for my company. And but I am the sole, get the clients, here's the work we're doing. And I've now kind of been able to branch off and say, all right, Russell, this is your client, and really be a bit detached from it as much as I can be, because I have to sort of think about succession for my agency. So, and
Yeah.
never thought I'd say those words.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be stupid of me not to think about it. So, and something about my son's growing family, but I got to do something. So.
It's not such a beautiful gift though to be able to give to your son.
Oh, and
Man.
I love working with him. We have had so much fun, and so, watching him so interested in what we're doing, and it's really been probably, I never imagined it would be so rewarding, and for him as well. So and then we have we have a technical designer that's been with us from the very beginning, and he's like family. So, and then we have someone else that we work with occasionally on SEO and things like that. So, but
All right.
Well,
yeah.
hey, Christine, we don't need to get into this now, but I just wanted to tell you, I'm hoping to talk to John Rockwell in a few days. We're supposed to do a catch-up call.
Well, tell him I love him dearly.
Me too.
I know he's the best. So yeah, give him my love.
I will.
Thank you.
So what I hear then, and for everybody, I think to have our ears perked too, is that you're looking to potentially pivot into one of your services being specifically helping people get the most out of Omeda. Yeah.
Out of their business system and around data. I think
Okay.
I don't want to limit it to Omeda,
Okay.
of course, even though I'd love to partner with them. I also don't want to limit myself, so, and I think a lot of what they're doing can apply to platforms like HubSpot. I had a former client that I helped move their stuff out of one group and into HubSpot. And this is the small business side of the business. And so they're not paying me a lot. And so I work on very short-term things like that. But, both the clients that I just signed on are retainers. It's great. I love that. And so we can, we can budget, we can depend on it. And then I had a big renewal with one of my big clients. So it's been a good couple months.
Hey, Christine, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Have you heard, and this is specific to Omeda, have you heard as of recent that Omeda has spun up something new where, as an example, let's say a customer of Omeda had a massive data set of like 100 million records, but they didn't want to start to market to those 100 million records and use all 100 million in Omeda on day one. The past struggle for those people with Omeda is they'd have to kind of put all 100 million into Omeda, which really jacks up their price. But apparently in the recent month or two, Omeda's spun up more of like an internal to Omeda data lake where a customer could put that massive 100 million and then kind of parse out or segment out more bite-sized pieces into their, let's say, production instance where they would incur that cost. Have you heard anything about this recently?
I have not, but I can see how they could do that because you can set up individual profiles under a database and kind of create division, segments of your platform use. And so like if I have this one client that has 6 publications, events, and they do 200 or so, or about 150 webinars a month. And so but it's a pretty, the file itself is pretty intricate, but pretty integrated in terms of the segmentation. I can go in and I can, the markets are fairly similar, but
Mhm.
to go in, like one part is medical and a little less much less crossover. So separating them out could be something, if I brought that up to them, that would be the most logical one. And maybe that would bring our pricing down, I'm not sure though. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Tim and I don't have much information on it. We just heard about this recently. So it's something interesting that I just wanted to mention because you're working with Omeda and see if you knew more than we did. So just curious.
I don't, but I'm gonna research that. Like, because
Yeah, me too, as of an hour ago. Yeah.
well, and because we're doing a lot, some acquisitions. That client of mine is doing a bunch of acquisitions this year. So,
Cool. Thanks.
It's good stuff, man. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate it. And then if you don't mind, would you mind emailing? Like, I'd like to know which technology platforms you're most familiar with that you
Okay.
love to transition people into and out of, just so that I have that in my mind and so everybody else does, to know who to send your way.
Yeah, I do
it-
have to jump off the call.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Talk to my doctor.
No
And
worries at all.
I like that I can just call them, which is nice. Anyway, thank you so much. Everybody sounds like you're just going to have a great year. So congratulations on all your accomplishments.
Thanks for hanging out, Christine.
Sure. Take care.
Take care. And Dave, thank you for your patience, man. I really appreciate you, buddy. So you go ahead and take us home.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Staying tuned. No, what I was saying was I'm working on trying to figure out how to spin up various tiers of what I do in a way that makes sense both for me and for publishers. Basically, a number of tiers of how do we get what I do, which is connecting numbers to what's going on with the content, what's going on with your audience, what's going on with your advertising, all these things together. Okay, how do we do this in a way that makes sense to a publisher at a price point that they can afford, that gives them the thing that they need in the way that they need it? So it's right now, I'm kind of in the early stages of ideation on that, but I'm working with Jacob on that one as well. And he's quite interested in that, and Jason is as well. And I think next week, Johnny, we're going to be talking about this.
Yeah. I'm going to be interviewing you and Jake because you had told me about this idea. And really, I think what struck me, just putting it into my own terminology, was you're going to go into, a media publishing organization, and you're going to do the analysis and storytelling, right? That you're so good at, which is like taking all the disparate kinds of data, telling the story, and then guiding them towards the opportunities that they're missing because they maybe don't know what their audience is doing in these different scenarios. Did I put it right?
Very, very much so there, very much so. And it probably shouldn't come as a surprise, and yet it still kind of does, that a lot of publishers are still kind of flying by the seat of their pants. With what the content is. And yeah, I know, grinning and laughing. Oh, surprise, Dave. Yes, I know, dude. But the work that I've done finding opportunities in the market to say, hey, look, if you do this, this is something work this way can work really well for you. Now, for the thing that I'm seeing for the future, the thing that I shared with you, Johnny, I can share with everybody else. It is, and can I do a screen share or no, I can't?
You can. No, you can. Let me just set it up. All right, you can share now.
All right, let me just share this. Yeah, allow Zoom. Okay, very good. All right, let's see if I can do this. Are you seeing it?
Nope. Yep.
Now we are.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, let's get rid of the Zoom. This is basically this report that I'm looking at about the thing that I'm concerned with, which is not just showing people what's working now, what's worked in the past, but trying to prepare publishers for what's going to work in the future. And that thing that I was talking with you guys about last time, GEO taking over for SEO, that generative engine optimization is going to be where things take place. This Rand Fishkin, I interviewed this guy. He's one of the most genius guys I've ever met about SEO. And he's one of the people that I've been listening to about, okay, things is changing. We are on the move. UX patterns, that's where I live here, the interfaces. Let me see if I can find something. There was a quote here, and please do not throw up. This is the one that got me. That people are looking for connection in journalism, but if journalism moves away from people towards automation and anonymity, it can't bridge that trust gap. And where I think I'm seeing an opportunity in the future is right around that idea. What is it, like outfits like 404 Media or Procreate that go in right from the get-go and say, hey, look, all of our stuff is created by human beings. We're not using AI in anything that we do. And you had said earlier, like farm to table, kind of name checking that. People are looking for this right here. Why are influencers so influential? Authenticity. Is a connection there. There is a connection, and the influencers know how to work this thing. Although influencers, and now there's virtual influencers, which just bakes my noodle. This report has got a lot in it. It's kind of dense. Let's see if I can find the other thing in here. Trusting, yeah, media isn't trusted. That's the one. The numbers here, this one here, that people are already using AI. They're saying, almost 2/3 of employees are saying, I did this, when really it was AI. And there's no training right now going on with how to ethically use AI to generate content. This one here also should put a scare up people that the next generation that's coming along is already marinating in this artificially generated content. They're going to grow up with, this is the way things are, in much the same way that the millennial generation grew up with, hey, you always have a phone with you and the internet is on. Whereas the older generation, we all grew up with that sound, eek, ding, 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 before. Exactly. I always get a laugh at that. Thank you so much, Johnny. Your check's in the mail.
All right. Yeah, give it to me. I need more.
That anyway, there is a change afoot here. I am trying to not just map out, as I said, where people are, where the opportunities are now, but where to go in the future and how to set ourselves up for a future in which not just 60% of the clicks now, 60% of the searches on Google are now 0-click searches. People don't click on things. They do a search for something and they see the results and they don't even bother to click through. And that's just a killer for publishers, because now you're not getting any page traffic from Google. So what's the damn point? And as our searches and as our information discovery moves to AI platforms, what does that mean when all of a sudden, these traffic sources start shrinking? How do we get the audience's attention? How do we stay in business as this shift takes place? And so that's what the year ahead is going to hold for me, along with the idea, and it's said here, I can't remember what slide, I'd find it, except it'd make you all nauseous searching around for it. But basically the idea is here as well that publishers are sitting on the gold mine that these hyper-funded AI companies desperately need, but are trying to get around by just stealing stuff. And that
Hey,
is
Dave,
valuable content. Yes, go ahead.
as traffic, and Tim and I are seeing this,
Yeah.
as traffic might start going down, are you seeing with your publisher friends or colleagues that there's an increase in appetite for like identity because ultimately, if a publisher only knows like 3 to 10% of who the heck their traffic is today, and that traffic at a raw number goes down, that means now they're knowing 3 to 10% of less of a sum. Is identity an increasingly hot topic?
Not well, there's a number of ways of looking at that one. And I think you're right in spotting some things that as the drive-by traffic goes away, what we're seeing is an increase in the amount, the time, the depth of engagement. And that, yes, definitely I'm seeing that in the numbers. That as we're getting fewer and fewer people coming on in from either social or, well, social's freaking dead, but social or search, that the people who are coming to you are sticking around longer because they're really interested in what you're doing. Yeah, I'm seeing that. For identity, the thing I'm seeing, the trend I'm hopeful on, I'm bullish on, is, and it's an overused word, but it's basically community. And one of the ways that I'm really seeing that expressed in an interesting way is shared creation. Shared creation by a community in an area cuts through the digital noise like nothing I've ever seen. That when the people who are formerly known as the audience, to steal Clay Shirky's phrase, get to feel a part of something, get to feel a part of shaping it, get to feel a part of creating something, then yeah, that is a force multiplier. And the places that do that, even just a little bit, are rewarded with a lot more loyalty, a lot more clicks, a lot more attention, and a lot more money. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, well, I need to talk. So, Dave, I need a practical example of that. Like, give me a practical example of any publisher doing
Yeah,
a
yeah,
form.
like yeah. So like, say a publisher has 50,000 uniques a week. They might only have a logged in user for 5,000 of those, right? And so for the other 45,000, that publisher very likely does not know enough to segment them from a direct advertiser perspective. They just know it's some device from Lakeland, Florida. They don't have a hashed email. They don't know that I'm 38. They don't know that I love golf. They don't know jack about me. And so if they did have, let's say, 50 active, let's say, ad campaigns going, they wouldn't know which ad to put in front of me because they only know 5 of the 50,000.
Mm-hmm. So that's one side of it. But I'm asking LaFontaine, what's an example of community creation, like actual community creation that's happening? That low-hanging fruit, right? Like, what's the easy stuff to do that creates that force multiplier for people?
Well, one of the ways that I'm seeing it done, and this is more in the streaming video space, which is one where the elbows are just sharp as knives. There's a technology called Synchro that allows families to figure out what are the shared common interests. So what can we watch tonight that everybody's interested in? You've got this small little community. They all collaborate on their interests here. And then from that, they get their playlist. Seeing something like that, or seeing what I saw, what was it? Now Habersham in Georgia, where they're co-creating these photo essays.
Yes.
I've seen that as well at El País in Spain, where
Yep.
co-creating these short videos, the videos of, the kids saying, how do you feel now that it's the last day of school? And they all co-create and they shape this content. They all add their stuff. It's a group project by everybody. Everybody like participates in it. Everybody wants to see it. Everybody wants to see what everybody else does, and they share the living shit out of it.
All right. Let me pause you there, Dave. So what I'm going to do, because we're at time, I really try to honor everyone's time. So I'm going to say we're going to cut it here. So this is the formal like Media Data Collaborative, but the link is open. So if anybody wants to jump back in, then you can jump back in. But I want to give everybody just the chance to decide if they want to stay on. So everybody jump off. This is it for the first session. Anybody wants to jump back on, feel free, and then we can have a more informal time together. All right. Take it easy, everybody. Have a good day.